Hi, I am Rabbi Elliott Tepperman. I'm the senior rabbi at Keshet right here in Montclair, New Jersey. I recently had the opportunity to travel to Guatemala with 13 other rabbis and Ruth Messenger as part of their Global Justice Fellowship of the American Jewish World Service. It is a program that's intended to highlight the work AJWS does supporting human rights and development around the world. While we were there, one of the first people that we met was a man named Rolando. Rolando is a member of an indigenous community in the north of Guatemala, and he told us his story of struggling to be part of the conversation connected to the building of a hydroelectric plant near his home. He made it clear that him and the other leaders from his community were not opposing this plant, but rather that they wanted to be included in the discussion, that they wanted to be compensated for potential loss due to loss of land, displacement, moving of the waterways that they depend upon, and potential pollution. For their community's efforts to have a seat at the table, they have been attacked, they've experienced violence, and their actions have been criminalized, meaning that many in their community have had warrants issued for their arrests, and many have been detained. 4 people have been murdered, including Rolando's brother. In this week's Parsha from Mishpatim, we are commanded, do not subvert the rights of the needy in their disputes. Keep far away from false charges. Do not bring death on those who are innocent and in the right, for I, God, will not acquit the wrongdoer. In Rolando's story, we see governmental and sometimes corporate forces that are breaking these commandments. Much of this is fueled by racism against the indigenous peoples, but is equally fueled by greed. Our Parsha is aware of the danger of greed. It includes commandments that we not accept bribes and warns against the way they will blind us to the needs of the righteous. While I was in Guatemala, I was disappointed to realize that Rolando's story is not alone. We met with many people, community activists, members of the community press, lawyers, organizations that defend the rights of people seeking human rights, all of whom were telling us stories of criminalization and of government impunity. Since returning from Guatemala, I've been thinking a lot about Rolando's story. And it's tempting to imagine that it's far away, that it doesn't implicate me, that the wrongs have nothing to do with me or my community. But later in our Parsha, we are reminded yet again of our obligation to care for the rights of the stranger. This is one of 36 times that we are commanded to consider the way our lives are entangled with the stories of strangers, the way we might have power to assure that they are treated with justice. We now live in a world in which experiences of even strangers who are very far away are wrapped up in our own lives, our own communities, our governments, our economies. We live in a world in which information and commerce and culture, these things are no longer contained by national borders. Our mutual funds are tied up in actions all over the world. Our internal debates about immigration and asylum are fueled by stories of people just like Rolando. Sorting out exactly how to act is not simple, but the commandments of Mishpatim demand that we remain engaged, that we resist indifference, and that we remember how we also know the feeling of being a stranger. The first step in heeding these commandments is to hear the stories of people like Rolando, to take them in, to experience the discomfort, and to notice the claims they make on us. Mishpatim demands that we have the courage to remain strong by being open-hearted, to feel the lines of connection that intertwine our faiths and obligate us to partners who are often far away.